Hi guys, it's Greg at Best Choice Trailers. Today we're going to take a walk around a Golden by Corn Pro dump trailer. Shown here is a 6x12, 99, 90 pound GVW. It's a low profile dump. Everything you see here is standard equipment. There is a couple things I'll show you on this trailer that make it unique to the industry and unique to pretty much everything else that we do. So the biggest thing I want to point out to you here would be the deck height and the load height. If you look at this unit, I believe the load height on this is going to be somewhere around 24 inches, if I'm not mistaken. It sits probably 5 inches lower than most of its competition, give or take. One of the ways it does that, and I'll show you in a second here, is going to be the use of drop axles. Drop axles do cost a little bit more in a straight. So a lot of times on dumps, you're going to see straight axles. But man, if you're a guy that's ever trying to load a piece of equipment in this, or if you're ever that guy that's hauling firewood and throwing it over the rail by hand, this sure would be a trailer you might want to consider. So just keep that in mind. I'll show you some of the standard features here. So again, Corn Pro does stuff a little different than a lot of the other manufacturers that we carry. Some of the things we like, some of the things we don't, some we're indifferent on. I'll try to point them out as we go around. So one of the things that we see here that's different than most for others is going to be a Bulldog coupler. Now, a lot of couplers, if they even do use a Bulldog, it's a Bulldog style import coupler out of China. Corn Pro does use Bulldog hardware, both the jack and the coupler up front. Some folks aren't familiar with these. They're very actually easy to use, very user friendly. Basically, with two hands, it's a little bit easier there. But you just lower it down on. This guy comes in, that sleeve comes around it, and then there's a locking pin here that this goes straight in. Very user friendly. Of course, safety chains, got the Bulldog jack. A couple little, this is so silly, but this thing just is so simple but effective. Some of our toolbox vendors do use gas shocks, which are okay. Some use just a manual prop. Problem with the manual props are those lids can flop back open. So this we like. It's kind of super designed for guys like me that are kind of simple. It's pretty simple but effective. Group 24 deep cycle marine battery, standard, power up, power down, hydraulics. We like that there's hinges and zerks on everything. Of course, like everyone in the industry, they're all designed for 3200 PSI. Of course, you've got your cord with your power up, power down hydraulics. A couple other little details. Spare tire mount is standard equipment. On this, instead of the black, we have gone with the charcoal color. Now, one of the things that we do really like about Corn Pro, they are still a urethane paint vendor. A lot of our other manufacturers, bigger size vendors, they're all pretty much forced to go no VOC to powder coating. This here is a urethane based paint with a DuPont primer. Very durable. If you look at some of the older Corn Pro livestock trailers, they've held up very well, even to some of the rougher conditions trailers see with the urine and feces and out of the animals. So again, for finish, pretty happy with what these guys do. Heavy duty corner posts, don't generally see those. Truck mount lighting, standard. Prep for a tarp kit. We've got some buyer's tarp kits that go right on these. Stake pockets, if you want to extend your sides up. Running boards, that's something you never see, well, I don't generally see anyway, on a dump trailer. Also got the pinstriping, all standard. Heavy duty fenders is something Corn Pro does on all theirs. They go a little bit heavier, normally 2 gauges or so heavier. So again, heavy duty. Deflects a little bit there, but because the running boards here, extremely rigid, going toward the front side of the fenders. Teardrop style, again, pinstriped. One of the primary differences between Corn Pro and Golden, because they are the same company, built in the same line, primarily you're going to see is just the axles would be your biggest difference. Goldens are going to be the leaf spring, where Corn Pro is going to be your torsions. 225/75 R15 load range D, 8-ply radial tire. 6 on 5.5 bolt pattern. This has Dexter brand axles with the newer style FSA forward self-adjusting brakes. Again, looking at it from the side profile, nice low over the rail height. Just nice feature. Heavy duty hinging, we said Corn Pro does pretty much on everything. Same thing here. Put grease zerks on everything. Basically, you got your pin set up. You got your under mount ramp. We also like that they do a little bit different. They got a heavy duty hook bar grab rail they use. One piece floor. Whole floor is made on this 6x12 trailer out of one piece of sheet, 10 gauge floor. Again, charcoal we did on these. You'll notice lots of tie downs. You got, of course, your D-rings inside, but also you've got all these hook points outside, one up front, one there. So you've got quite a few different tie down areas. Again, running boards we think certainly would make this nice depending on what a guy is using it for. Let's pop the hood and see what's underneath here. So again, it is power up, power down. So it's got the nice heavy duty corners. You see it's got a 6-inch channel mainframe. In the industry, a lot of times we see 5-inch channel or 5-inch tube. This one's got a little bit heavier on the frame. Also notice reinforced right there in front. You've got your prop for working on your hydraulics. Also notice the bed frame on this is made out of 3-inch heavy wall tube. And then you've got 16-inch on center structural 3-inch channel cross members. Of course, you've got your undermount ramps that slide out the rear. So as soon as we get this bed up, a couple nice things I want to show you underneath it. Again, make this a little different than some of the other vendors that we carry. So first thing you'll notice, heavy duty tube reinforcement, and then heavy duty tube cross member going across, and also a heavy duty tube cross member going across where your piston mounts. Speaking of the piston, again, Corn Pro, where your pivot points are, have always been kind of heavy duty. You'll notice a little bit heavier than most of our other brands on your mounts, top and bottom. Now, one of the things you'll notice, being lower to the ground, if a trailer's built correctly, there's a couple things that need to happen. So Corn Pro on these, what makes them get lower to the ground, I said earlier, they've got drop axles, so the drop spindles come out the center of the hub, drop down 4 inches per side. Now when you do that, most people can benefit from being lower to the ground. It just makes it more user-friendly. But to do that, you've got to watch your ground clearance. Now the only way you're going to get your ground clearance back is to have a minimal overhang on your hinging, which this one does. I'm going to guesstimate you got about 12 inches. Which, speaking of the hinging, they do a nice heavy-duty hinge on these. Again, it's one of my favorite parts about the Corn Pro generally is the zerts and the heavy-duty hinging more so than most. So, drop it down to the ground, no problem. Got to have less overhang at the rear. You're going to dump into the ground. Now, the only way you're going to do all that is to have a longer stroking cylinder because of your shorter overhang at the rear. So, this has an oversized cylinder. I believe that's a 4x42, but again, I don't have book spec on that, but it's a longer than normal cylinder. Most of the sizes are going to have normally a 3x30, sometimes a 4x30 or a 32. This is an overlent cylinder because of the shorter overhang at the rear. So again, those are some of the key things that we like about these Corn Pros. They're going to weigh in roughly 3,000 pound empty. You're going to get about 7,000 pound payload left, and you're also going to pick up about 15% weight transfer over to the truck side. So if you had this thing perfectly balanced, theoretically you could payload somewhere in the neighborhood of about 8,000 pounds on this trailer. This is available in different sizes. We stock it in 6x10 10K, 6x10 7K. Also comes in 6x10 and 12 deckovers as well. If you have any questions on this trailer or any of your other trailers that we keep in stock, feel free to give us a ring, 717-220-4220, or you can visit us on the web at bestchoicetrailers.com. Thanks for looking.